Hi, my name is Elsie, and I'm here today with
Saba.
How you feeling today, Saba?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm great too. Are you a morning person?
I am a human person. I'm not a morning person. I don't know.
I'm not a
It's
morning
not like no
person.
particular time of day where I feel more like myself.
Really? Whoa. Because I work well at night. Like from 10 p.m., my brain is like, okay, I'm up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like at night, I'm just different.
Yeah.
I'm different, but all the versions, like the 10 a.m., the 10 p.m., the 3 a.m., the 3 p.m., like it's just
All the same?
they not all the same. They all different, but they all are effective.
Okay, I like the sound of that. Yeah. I wish I was like you. All right, so your album with No I.D has been out for a month now. I've heard so many people personally and even online like talk about how much they love it. So how does that reception, what does it mean to you?
Okay. Let me think about that for a second, because I feel
sure.
very I feel both sides of that, where it's obviously exciting to see people enjoy your work as an artist. And I also think that one of the most important and also most challenging, like, self-work that I do is trying to put less into that.
I see what you mean.
You know, it's
Yeah.
like somebody praising you for good, somebody bashing you negative. Like
Both
either
sides of the
way,
same
I just
coin.
wanted to just not have that much of effect on me. Like it,
I get it, yeah.
you know, but if I'm just speaking generally, it's awesome. You know, it's awesome to have something that you worked really hard on, to be received in a way that feels like aligned with how you visioned it. It's like, oh, okay, it's cool. I'm not crazy. People also agree.
Has this always been your perspective? Like blocking out the noise, whether it's leaning to the people that are like, oh my God, you're amazing, and people that are like bashing you?
It maybe started around 2019. That's, I think, when, I don't know, I think by 2019 I had a few albums out, a few projects. I got to see some people love some stuff, some people not like some stuff. I got some good reviews, got some bad ones. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, these actually all are just kind of distracting from what,
The main thing.
which is just like, you made the art.
Right.
You made it. You felt it was great when you made it. You felt successful about it in the studio. And putting it out and releasing it and open it for other people's
Criticism,
judgment.
basically, yeah.
And praise also. You know, praise, criticism, like two sides of the same.
Coin. Wow. I want to get to that level.
I want to get there too.
Yeah,
Like, that's
it's
what I'm
not
saying.
easy,
Like, I'm
man.
trying to get there.
Especially like it could be one thing to kind of block out the negative noise, but like also kind of blocking out like the praise, because it can feel validating sometimes,
And
like,
then you chase it.
which is the trap.
It's all a trap.
Yeah. And that's facts actually. So this was your first time doing like a full on project with a producer, and it happened to be No I.D. Someone that really just helped shape the sound of an entire generation. Like, that's a legend right there. Did working with him unlock anything creatively in you that maybe surprised you?
Yeah. That's okay, off the top of my head, that's a question that I feel like I can probably think about for 10 minutes and have an infinite amount of answers. But off the top of my head, working with different people just inspire different conversation. Those conversations are always so informative to what you're actually creating. And working with him, like, it was just really, it was cool in some of the ways that I felt challenged, like, as an artist. Like, I really wanted to show up. Like, he sent me so many beats, and I wanted to put something on. Anything that I liked, I was recording something too. It was like that simple to me, and I wanted to really showcase my ability in a way. And then some of the conversations, like, it would just be things that he would say. Like, we was listening to A Few Good Things together. I mean,
Okay.
he was like, man, you really good, man. You got a lot of good lines. And you just say something great and keep going.
Oh yeah, I see what he means.
And I'm like, that's an interesting, like, observation. And something as simple as that is like enough to inspire me to, like, oh, what if I don't just say something great and keep going? What if I try to emphasize it, or like lead to it, like make it
build up,
and it kind of changed where I was placing bars, like how I was writing. So it's like a lot of small conversations like that actually led to a great deal of change. And yeah, I guess that, to keep it semi-short,
I guess. Yeah.
That's one of the ways, but there are many.
That's amazing. I read somewhere that the project took about 3 years to kind of put together. I don't know.
Is that true? It's
I just
okay, I guess you could say that, because it's like, when it comes to years, it's like 1, 2, 3, 5. Like, it's all the same shit. We started in 2022 and it didn't release until 2025. So I guess in a way,
it was like
that
3
is
years.
true. I would say maybe 2 is
More accurate.
But sometimes I say 3, sometimes I say 1, sometimes I say 2. It kind of depends on how I feel.
I get it.
All 3 are true.
One thing that really stood out to me, I think it was something that you tweeted. You said that every single feature on this album actually came to the studio, physically, and
except one. But I didn't think about that when I tweeted that. But the only reason, the one that didn't, it was Mello, who I've been recording with since I was 13 or something like that. So I was, what I'm saying? That was just,
no one knew, really.
You know what I'm saying? That was like, hey, I need it. He had the last verse that guy, I think, recorded for it. It was like real last minute, like just West Side Bound. It was like almost right, but it was missing his presence. And I called him real last minute, like, hey, can you turn this in before we go to mixing, like, next week?
Whoa.
And because I was here and he was in Chicago, it just,
had to be a virtual
it's
thing.
Like, we spent so much time in the studio together that it almost still counted.
Felt like he was right there with you even. Do you think those in-person sessions, just having all those features come in, really did something different for the music?
It, yeah. We get to have conversation. We get to see people react. I originally played Kelly Rowland Breakdown. I was trying to get her on Breakdown. And I got to see her react to Crash. And I'm like, well, fuck my idea. Like,
let's do that
instead. Like, because I want the music to come natural. Like, it's like, if you got to sit there and think, and what are the words, and what is this, what is it? It's like the second Crash came on, she was like humming and thinking of harmonies and doing all of that.
Damn, you'd be perfect on
That's
that.
the most important part. So I think having people in the studio, it sometimes takes away the brain. Like, I feel like you got an email with a song in it, and not necessarily saying this way is better than that way, because both ways can make great music. But saying, just for what I was going for this album, I really wanted to capture the room. And I think in order to do that, it's like, you got to be in the room.
Yeah. Like, to me, that's interesting that you said, like, you had an idea, you wanted Kelly on a different song, and then she came in. Like, how did you really navigate that? Was it kind of like, oh wow, an immediate thing, or was it something that you kind of thought about? Because I'm assuming, like, if you already had like an idea in mind, at least from the way I see it, it might be kind of hard to be like, okay, I want you on Crash, but can you still go on this thing I initially had the idea for?
The other part about being in a room is you get to read the room. I'm not trying to complicate the process. Like I think the best music is usually simple. The hardest part might be pulling from your inspiration or getting the right words or something like that. But in terms of just capturing the energy, it's like you want to just go with that. And it's Kelly, so it's not like I'm about to go, hey, can you get on this,
Right.
and you know what I'm saying? I'm like, wow, she did
The
it.
fact that she wants to even get
She,
on this.
literally, I didn't try to push it past that.
Yeah, your pen is sharp as ever on this album. Was your writing process for this the same? Was it different? What does your writing process even look like? Because a lot of people talk about like your writing specifically.
This album, I felt like I had more time than I feel like I normally have with the songs that I'm making in the writing process. Like I feel like if you look at the, you know, the 1 or 2 or 3 years process, we've had similar timelines in terms of going from one album to the next. But this process was different because the whole time I was still editing lyrics, which usually, like in the past, we might take that long, but we might be doing arrangements and working on production and doing all of that. Whereas this, I was still editing bars, words. You know what I'm saying? And I had never really challenged myself like that on any of my other albums. It would be like whatever the first thing that I wrote, I'm just
What makes it on?
Yeah. So this album, I think, was different in that regard, where I got to really spend time with the lyrics and over time just know if I was communicating what I wanted to communicate. There was a lot of edits, a lot of rewrites, a lot of conversation. You asked me a few questions ago and I was like, yeah, he said you delivered a great line. Like it's not, like all of that type of shit kind of informs the pen on this, where I'm like, oh, I have the time to say what I want to say and not just say what I feel like I said.
Yeah. Do you think this is going to be your process moving forward now that you tried something different and apparently it works because the album is great?
I appreciate that. It's different every time, so it's hard to predict.
That is
like
true.
You know, the next one might be like
Spontaneous.
don't write it at all. You know, it ain't
Just
no telling.
freestyle.
Literally, it's like ain't no telling what is gonna inspire you in that moment. I'm never really trying to do something I did, so this is a great process, and I like that. But now I know I could do that. So now it's time to go find out that I can do something else.
Are you always challenging yourself in that way?
Yeah. I guess not always. Sometimes I want the easy, you know what I'm saying? I know that if I sit right here and turn this beat on and it's this BPM and I write it at the, you know what I'm saying? I know this will work. Sometimes you need that. I consider those practice. But yeah, I guess in a way I am always trying to discover new parts of myself in that. Ain't no really telling what the next thing will be. You know?
I like that. Kind of just keeps your process fresh. You keep just doing whatever comes to mind, I guess.
It
I like
at least
that.
stays interesting to me, if no one else. Like, I'm interested in this shit.
I think that's cool because as a creative, sometimes I'm just like, sometimes I like the template, what's worked in the past.
Yeah.
I like to refer to that a lot, just to be like, okay, this has worked. It's probably going to work again. Maybe I can refine it, but I'm just still going to use that same template.
I feel like in music, enough people think like that, where it's like you do something and it works, and then
do it again.
You do it again.
And again and again and again and again, yeah.
And I'm like, it's, you know, there's plenty of artists that do that, and with all due respect, I'm just not necessarily interested. But we all have our things that we go back to, ways that we talk, ways that we, like production we like or something like, you know what I'm saying?
It's your taste.
Yeah, it's your taste.
This album feels like a sequence. The track listing, really, each song just flows into the next. Was that something that was like happened after the music, or was that something that was happening while we're putting the music together?
I would say it was happening while. There was so many different versions of this track list. Man, there was versions that the end would feel perfect, but the beginning didn't feel right. Then we would get the beginning right, and then the middle would be wrong. And it was just like, I don't know, it just took a lot of time and a lot of, like, it's 15 songs. So there might be a version with number 2 is number 10, number 15 is number 3. Like, it's like, we tried every damn near arrangement imaginable, but a lot of them worked. But I felt like this was just the one that
Worked best.
it worked best in terms of just like pacing.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that. It never felt like, you know, there are songs that were more upbeat than some others, but it never felt like rushed at any point. It was just like ebbs and flows. What was the most challenging part of putting this album together? Emotionally, creatively, logistically?
I think, and maybe I only think this because you said emotionally, but I think with making albums, and this is probably a part that I don't think a lot of listeners always realize, but it's like your real life is always happening.
That's the thing. Whoa. Yeah.
Your real life is always happening.
It never stops.
It never stops happening. So it's like, it's awesome. You're in the studio and you working with No I.D. and all of this shit. But it's like, there are people dying. There are, you know, all of this.
Life is happening.
Life is happening.
Right.
And in some cases, life is no longer happening. And you just navigate and you deal with it and you keep going and you keep, you know, but there are moments where it's like, actually, no music for me today.
And that's okay.
No music for me this month.
Right.
No music. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just kind of got to go through whatever you're going through to get through it. And that happening while at the same time you're clearing samples. Who knows how long that's going to take. At the same time, it's, you know, you looking for the perfect mix and all. It's just, I don't know. Any part of it could be the most challenging part.
That is true.
Any part, like if you pay attention long enough, it could be the lyrics. It could be you stumped on a verse. It could be the hook layer didn't sound right. Like, it could be any part. That's the most challenging, but I think that's also what makes it so that when it is released, how we was talking about like the praise versus the critique or anything like that, it hold less weight because it's coming from people who don't know what went
don't know
into
what
it.
happened.
They don't know the
behind
ingredients,
scenes,
you know. So I'm like as somebody who lived through it, I'm like, oh no, I know what I put into this. I know what I had to overcome to accomplish this. And you know what I'm saying? It's already a success because of that. Like, you got it out, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, I don't know. Like,
damn, that kind of cracked a code in my head. Cause I'm like, whoa, that is true. Cause I know what it takes to put out something. Someone that's outside of that can't really dictate how I should feel about what I did.
Putting out anything is
tough.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's a crazy, and it's like,
what?
To be perceived and received, denied, whatever the fuck, by people who aren't putting things out. It's just like,
yeah. It could get annoying.
You know what I'm saying? It's annoying more than anything.
It's like, what are you talking about?
But that's why it's like, I feel like it's worth it to just have that force field, like where it's like, bro, these niggas can't tell me shit.
Right.
They didn't put it out.
That's facts, man. Wow, that is true. You talked about sample clearing. I read this interview you did about the Janet Jackson sample. I was like, oh my God, like that was a lot. Were there moments in that waiting process when you were just like, okay, like, let's scrap it?
Cut the song? For sure.
What kept you holding out?
Nothing. I was gonna scrap it.
Oh.
Nothing. I was definitely gonna scrap it or try to like redo it. the song was so built around that specific sample that trying to imagine it differently became challenging. Like, I tried to mute it and like, maybe we can play something else on top of it. And it's just like, it defeated the purpose of the song at that point. And at that point, it's like, okay, well, we might need to scrap this and put a different song at that. But the problem was, this was number 2 on the album, which is like, number 2 is always so informative. It's so much information in number 2 as far as where we're gonna go, where we are already. So it was like, I don't know.
Did that kind of shift the way you think about like patience?
It, in a way, yeah, because I think sometimes it's not up to you. Sometimes, like, that was a moment where it's like I wasn't patient. It's like, fuck it, let's just do something else. And in that waiting, because it's like, to do something else, you still have to go do something else.
Man.
Which also requires patience.
Man.
So that, you know, I'm just grateful that, I'm grateful for the timeline, you know.
It seemed like it worked out in a very divine way.
It literally, Christella called and told me that they cleared it on the day that was supposed to be our initial release date. 2/25/25.
Whoa.
So I'm sitting in the studio, sad, depressed as fuck, like, damn, album not coming out, fuck. And then she called me and was like, hey, they cleared.
Oh my
and
God.
I'm like,
that probably felt like super relieving.
One single tear.
One single tear. I think another interesting part was that you mentioned taking photography classes with No I.D. And you even shot that album cover by yourself. Is photography something like you're really into, or did you just pick that up recently?
Okay, so photography is something that I feel like the reason that it comes up so much on this is because of him, not me. He's the photographer, but I feel like I've been just so interested in photography for so many years. I've been dating a photographer for so many years. So I know just a bunch of shit that I probably wouldn't know otherwise. But I never really like learned it. You know, it's just like words I hear or seeing setups or helping with shoots and shit like that from just being around it. But being with No I.D., he's like just talking about it all the time or taking pictures all the time, and just, you know, it just becomes such a
part of the process, really.
You know? But taking that class is where it kind of like, it's like the light bulb went off, where it was like a bunch of shit that I had been hearing finally was
made
like
sense.
Oh, I can see
it.
I can see it. And yeah, it's cool. It's like some shit just happened that way. Like, especially even me taking the cover, like, my plan was for him to take the cover, but when we went to Chicago, he wasn't able to make it. So I'm just in Chicago, like, I'm thinking I'm about to be the backup camera, and I'm like, oh shit, like,
I'm the main camera now.
I had a camera that I didn't know how to use. I had never used it. It was just a camera from a friend. And I'm so glad that the cover came out like decent, because I'm like, fuck, I was not expecting to have to do that. But I'm happy with it. Like, it's cool. It looked real to me. It's like, it's not a perfect photo, but it
looks real.
Yeah, it looked real. And I'm like, just another thing that I can look at and, you know, y'all don't know what went into this, and you can't tell me shit about it. Like,
right.
He wasn't there.
Some people say when you learn something new creatively, like photography, kind of influences what you already know. For example, the big picture, the song had a lot of metaphors, like using photography terms.
Right.
You know, did picking up the camera really kind of teach you something about the process that you already know?
Yes, I guess is the simple answer. But that song in particular, my uncle passed away in 2023. He's a producer, and he sent me that beat. It didn't have drums on it though, so I did a version, sent it back to him. Then I got No I.D to put some drums on it, and we kind of just kept working on it. But the lyrics are very different to that song. I did that song in a On the Radar freestyle. The original version of Big Picture. I did an On the Radar freestyle like 2023. Like, it was weird because it was the week like he passed. But at the same time, that inspired me where I'm like, I know I'm gonna put this song on the album, but I don't know what my album is yet. I'm still kind of figuring out my album. But I knew I liked the hook, I knew I loved the beat. And man, I was reading some shit one day, and it says something about how all language is basically just a metaphor. And it like how you say, it unlocked something in my brain. It unlocked something in my brain where I wrote 2 verses. One of the verses was for this Pivot Gang song, and it was like basically like I was building a house, but it was like each thing that I was like rapping about was like, this is this, this is this.
Okay.
You can say this is this. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it worked so well. I'm like, that nigga gotta show up on my album. Like, that's the one. Like, and the next day I wrote the first verse to Big Picture. It had a few different lines, but it's like it went through all of that to end up there. So I guess saying all that to say what I originally said, yes.
Well, I like the explanation. Gave context, much needed context.
I feel like for Big Picture, because the song is so like, it's like really close to me and also my family now, based on it being my uncle's last like musical contribution. Like, it's a story that I want to tell as much as I can. And I'm still working on how I want to tell it, because I don't want it to be so centered around his death, but I want it to be, you know, I mean, the song is called Big Picture, so I want to figure out how to frame it in a way that is like, you know, I'm still working on it. We knew to doing these interviews, you know, by next year when we're doing these interviews, it's going to be a well-oiled machine, you know.
You're literally using photography terms like, I want to know how to frame it and all of that. So I guess you're halfway there.
Talk about it.
Yeah. So I want to talk about being independent. You're very unique in the fact that you've kind of built a lot outside the traditional machine. And you've done it in a very, I would say, with integrity. I think that's the easiest way to put it. What's kind of been the biggest blessing and the biggest burden of doing it your way?
The biggest blessing? I got to meet some really incredible people along the way. Like, I think that's probably been my favorite part. Like, there are people from all different walks of life, all different colors, from all different places and different systems that have been so drawn and impacted by what we do that it feel like they just have kind of become a part of my life in ways. You know, like, it's people that want to see us doing better than we were doing. And that's, I don't know, like, depending on who that person is, it could just be really monumental in terms of moving and getting things done. But I think being independent, relationships have mattered way more than anything else. And that's kind of, to me, that just goes hand in hand with, again, real life. Like, it's not, you know what I'm saying? Like, people think it's something else, but it's really like, well, who do you fucking know?
No.
And what's y'all like? Who can you ask for help if you needed it?
And that's a tough thing sometimes. Do you think you're an introvert or like you're extroverted?
I think I'm an introvert until I'm like I'm comfortable. I'm like real guarded in general. That's why some interviews are challenging for me. Some just meeting people for the first time, like some of my label meetings and shit like that back in the day were like just really awkward and uncomfortable because it's like I'm like real guarded at times where it's like I don't fucking know you from a can of paint. And we sitting right here talking about signing my next 6 years away and shit like that. You want the next 5 years of my life. You want the next 4 albums and shit. And I don't know you from a can of paint. When I just spent the last 20 fucking 5 years and my uncle and my dad and his dad, and all of them did music to get to me being here. And I'm supposed to just trust you.
I get that.
That's the only reason that I feel like I've been independent for as long as I am, because it's like I'm still like, it's like I'm from where I'm from, which is Chicago for the people who don't know. And it's like it's an interesting environment, but it's helpful in the ways that it's helpful, because it's like I don't think most people from Chicago, like Chicago people think, and let me not try to speak for a city, right? But at the same time, a lot of the shit people be thinking is cool, Chicago people be thinking is so goofy. It's like so I'm like in a lot of I feel like the shit that comes with.
Okay, I see.
You know what I'm saying? It's like the shit that come with. I'm like,
what is this?
Who cares about this shit? Like it's like, But all in all, I feel very grateful to have chosen the route, and I don't even know that I chose the route, because it's not like that's what I intended from jump. Yeah, literally. Because it feels like again, it's like you can't really separate art and life and shit. Like it's like no two are the same. No two people, they could have signed the same exact deal for the same amount of money, worked with the same team, and it produces different results.
That is true.
No,
you can never really predict.
Literally. And that makes it kind of challenging for me to say what the biggest burden has been, because I don't really have anything to compare it to. Like I can say like, oh, it would be nice to have like major funding and shit like that, but at the same time, I don't know that it would be. Like
sometimes,
I don't know that it would be. I don't know that wouldn't turn into a burden.
That's the thing.
You know, it's like,
because that story is a tale as old as time, really. I think one thing that you've put out that's really stuck with me is I think a couple years ago you wrote this essay, and it was published on Complex. And there was a part that you wrote about getting 10K from a brand before you even made that from rap. And you poured all of that into funding your first tour.
Yeah.
That really stuck with me. Because, like, I feel like a lot of artists these days talk about not wanting to, in a way, be content creators, market brands. They just want to be artists. But for independent artists, you know, there's a tension. You have to show up online. But some people feel like it waters down the art. Like, how do you navigate that? And what advice would you offer to people that might be in the same shoes as you were in back then?
I think this is something that I'm guilty of, but I think most artists romanticize the past in a way that it's like, we got to do all of this shit now that they didn't have to do back then. And it's like, these niggas are in commercials, they're selling products, they're doing all of this shit that they probably don't want to be doing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's a part of their version of, you know, getting out there, getting their songs out there, getting their face out there and all of that shit. So it's like, it's really up to you. At the end of the day, it's like, it's up to you, but just be proud of whatever result that like brings. Like if you don't want to be online doing content or making reels or TikToks or YouTube shorts or whatever, like it's like, You literally don't have to.
Yeah, you just gotta manage your expectations, I guess.
Manage your expectations or just do something else. It's like, if you're not doing that, what are you doing? Because
That
it's
is
always
true.
something that
That is true.
you
You
know what
gotta
I'm
do
saying? Like, it's like,
something.
do something. Like, we
Yeah.
don't, like, it don't gotta be this.
But it has to be
It
something.
gotta be something.
That
like,
is so true.
You know?
Yeah, because a lot of people talk about, I just want to make the music, let the music speak for itself.
And it's like, the music ain't never spoke for itself. Ever. Motherfuckers think the music speak for themselves. It's tons of amazing songs that you never fucking heard because
That
the
is
shit don't
true.
speak for itself.
That is true.
It's your homie who's like, hey, this is dope.
Word of mouth.
He spoke for the music. They
Yep.
spoke for the music. Or you heard it in a movie. Or you heard it in a commercial.
On
or
the
you seen
radio
it
or
on
whatever.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, it's always been
That's so
something
true.
else. And I feel like people underutilize the power of familiarity.
That is true.
Like, it's like, this is not your favorite song. This is the song that you heard the most.
So many times it became your favorite
So you
song.
know all of the fucking lyrics to it. So you feel a sense of,
That's so true.
hey, this my shit. Like, it's like, this not
But
your
you just
shit.
heard it so many
You
times.
just know this shit. So you feel like when that shit come on and you outside, it's like
Yeah.
it's like you get that sense of familiarity. And that's really the play on the reels and the TikToks and the shorts. It's like
To
you
kinda
get to
get
get
it
somebody
to your
familiar with it.
That's so true.
Because I feel like that's where I'm at right now, where I'm like, bro, there are so many people that love Bucket List or love Care for Me or some shit like that. And that's awesome, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm like, y'all are familiar with that.
Yes.
And it's like, sit with the music. Let it, you know what I'm saying? Learn a word or two. See how you feel about this. Like, it's always jarring hearing something you haven't heard before.
That is true.
It's jarring. It's like, what? I can't predict what's going to happen next. You mean I don't know the hook? Like, it's
That's
like.
true. And I think there's a lot of songs that, like, I probably didn't really like on first listen, but, like, have really grown on me the more I've listened to it. I think a lot of people go in with expectations, too. And I think that kind of affects the way they actually process the music.
Mick said something that was like really incredible. I'm gonna misquote him, but it was something like it's like going to a chef that prepared you like the chef special. He just made you hella shit. You go to him and you eat it and you like, what? No chicken? Like, and it's like, that's not what I'm preparing right now.
Right.
And it was like such a like good quote, because I feel like that a lot, like not just in my own artistry, but like even looking at how people receive other people's art, where it's like you can tell sometimes that the expectation informs how you listen so much, where it's like, imagine if you didn't have that, you might love this, but because you went into this wanting a different version, you're not even really hearing what they giving you.
I'm guilty of that, I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, we are like, you know what I'm saying, we only what we are. We
Right.
just, we wanted this.
Man, that's so true. I've tried to kind of unlearn that and just think of artists and just be like, you know what, you're an artist, I'm gonna take whatever you give me. Let me see what that turns into.
It turns into like a real, like, it's like a two-sided relationship. It's like you build trust that way.
That's what I want to say. It's about trust, really.
Yeah.
There's some artists I trust, like whenever they put out music, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna listen because like I trust your track record, basically.
Right. And sometimes when it's artists like that, you might have to give it a few listens.
Yeah.
You might have to give it a few listens. When it's an artist who don't sound like everything else right now too, you got to get at a few listens sometimes, because it's like it's like a palate cleanser almost, where it's like you got to familiarize yourself with just where they at, what's the palette, what's the sonic landscape, what's, you know what I'm saying, where we going with it.
I like that. You've always kind of struck me, and even talking to you, as someone that kind of like protects your peace, I guess. How do you balance? Wait, you don't think that's true?
Well, I won't comment yet. It seemed like you had more questions left. I'll let you get your shit
I just
on.
want to ask you how you kind of balance being open, in your music, because your music is very real and vulnerable, but you still kind of maintain that privacy in real life in a way of like protecting your peace in a sense. So I kind of wanted to just ask how you find that balance.
Protecting peace, or balance. The balance part is kind of easy because I'm very, like, to myself generally. Part of it is just when we was talking about being introverted. Part of it is I don't really want to be out there, and I don't want to go to the party, and I'd rather be at home, and I don't necessarily want to be a part of all of this shit. So part of it is like that just presents itself as, oh yeah,
It's protecting his peace.
yeah, he's protecting his peace.
Yeah.
But in a way, yeah. But also it's like people are who they are. And I think sometimes people expect with observing successes or even observing failures or just being people that are at a level where you can observe them. People expect people to be a certain way. And it's like, no, I'm still how I was when I was 8. Didn't want to be around your ass then. Don't want to be around you now, for real. Like, and that, you know what I'm saying? That hasn't really changed about me. But at the same time, I think the older I get, the more I am like, you'll sometimes be around people and you start hearing shit about other people and shit. And the more I'm like, actually,
I want to be here.
like, so I guess in that way, I feel like maybe that is a way of protecting peace. Like
You want to be caught up and all of that.
I'm cool.
Yeah.
I'm cool on all of it.
I like that. What's something that you feel like you had to unlearn to become the artist that you are now?
What's something that I had to unlearn? Let me think about fucking unlearning. My fault. This one just fucked me up.
Take your time.
I think something that I had to unlearn, I thought the way the industry worked was way different. Like way different.
In what way?
I think there's a level of me, especially starting off, like where it's like it wanted a level of recognition. I wanted, like, I thought it was like, I really thought this from my first mixtape. When I did Comfort Zone in 2014, I'm like, yep,
It's up.
my job is done. My job is done. Like, we own now.
Whoa.
We about to go on tours, and all of the biggest rappers are about to hit me up to feature, and I'm about to be in the videos and invited everywhere.
That kind of happened in a way, but
that happened in no way. In no such way did that. Such way did that happen.
I mean, I kind of discovered you from Chance, and I thought at that point it seemed like a breakthrough for an artist like you. At that point.
That's cool. Yeah, Chance is different at that time for me because that's like a friend of mine at that point. So I'm not necessarily
Oh, I see what you mean.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like I was on his album.
Yeah.
I was on Acid Rap in 2013. So to me, that bridge had already been established.
Okay, I see.
But shout out to Chance, because Chance did, especially early on, he did a lot to just help me in ways that I don't even know if he realizes. But just by having me around for some of, like, when he was, and me and Chance did not hang out. Like, I know him way better now than I ever knew him when we were doing those verses and we were doing the performances and shit. So it's cool that he just, he heard my shit and was like, fucked with it. Yeah, it was like, that was our relationship. But yeah, I don't know. I always thought it would be different. That's what I would say. I thought it would be different. So I think where I see myself now is I try to be the, like, if I was just starting out, or not even just starting out, but if I was like, if I was putting in fucking work, I try to be the art. Like, I try to just establish community with like artists. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, pull up on me, come to the studio, play me some shit. Like, let's talk about it. Let's, you know what I'm saying? Like, put me in your phone. I'm the contact. Like, you know,
networking,
it's like
in a way.
But I think, yeah, networking, but different. I guess what I'm saying is like with younger artists, especially. With younger artists, especially, it's like it's motherfuckers who look up to people. It's motherfuckers who just want to hear from, like, hey, am I going in the right direction? What do you think about this? What do you think about this? And it's like, I don't have the answers to none of that, but let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. And that can make all the difference, really.
At the end of the day, I don't fucking know the answer to nothing. But if, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's people who come along and they see you doing something and their lives are changed because of it. I'm gonna do that. And I'm gonna do it this way.
Without you actually having to tell them, like, these are the answers, because you don't have the answers.
You don't have the answers, but it's like, when I see that, it's like, I could at least say, hey, what's up? Keep going. Hey, I heard it. Go crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, I try to be that, I guess. But yeah.
Man, I like that. Just having to kind of shift your headspace from that, the expectations.
The validation of like thinking that niggas is gonna come save you from anything. Like, niggas.
People get caught in cycles of like a lot of bitterness, you know, because you're like, you were supposed to play this role for me. You're supposed to co-sign me.
And
like,
they didn't promise you no such thing.
Exactly.
Them niggas, you know. But, you know, with all due respect, it's like, walk your own path and be comfortable in it. Like, cause that's what we got. Shit, that's what it is. Like, it's like, them niggas not coming for you, bruh.
No one's coming to
them niggas not.
Right. Man, so looking at where you are now, just to close up the interview, what does making it now look for you? Because you said that at that point, that's what it was. You know, you were like, oh, these artists are going to hit me up, throw me on their albums. But now you've grown, now you've matured. It's been a decade.
It's been a decade.
Yeah, so like, what does making it now look like for you?
A scam. That shit is all a scam, bro. It's a scam. I wish I can explain in a way that just painted the picture for all these young motherfuckers trying to do this shit. It's like, bro, just do your shit. If you get to make money off of it, it's like, that's fucking beautiful. Figure that out, double down, triple down, quadruple down, do whatever you gotta do to get to that point. Once you get to that point, if you're able to sustain a career, that's incredible. But look at how many of these motherfuckers are older. Like, it's like, we got a whole fucking life, God willing. It's like, we're witnessing what it's like to get older in this space. But the space is ever changing. It's ever changing.
Yes.
And it's like, bro,
we're all experiencing this for the first time.
It's like, we put so much, like, I feel like, thought into something bigger than what we currently are
doing.
And it's like, bruh, the current is where it's at. It's where it's at. It's busting. Like, it's like, yeah, I don't know the answer is, I guess, the other half to this. Like,
living
really
in the now.
Know, it's like, what's making it to me now? It's like, I guess, in a sense, it's
being able to live in the present.
Nah, cause you could be in the present and make shit. You get these motherfuckers out here in the present. And, you know. So it's definitely more to it than that. But I think regardless, it requires like a blind like leap of faith. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. And I want to know. But I just don't.
You don't have all the answers.
I just don't. Like, but I know it's different than what I thought it was.
It was. Mm-hmm.
That's what I do know. Like, it's changing. It's morphing into something else to me right now. And I think part of that is because other people's perception. It's like other people's perception of you is that you have made it. But
true.
But you know
that you don't think you've gone there really.
You know that your idea of making it just felt like there would be some type of security attached to it. I've made it. Now I can relax and enjoy the fruits of my labor. And it's like, yeah, I don't think a lot of people are experiencing that part the way that people think that people who've made it are. I'm like, nigga.
Actually, that was deep. That was deep right there. Yeah. Whoa, man. There's a lot. I feel like every day is a learning process, and at least you know what it's not for you. I think that's a step closer to the answer. Really.
That's true. That's a fact. Yeah. That's a fact. That's also back to that unlearning question. That's also something I feel like you have to unlearn. Thinking that you could get to a point and then it's like,
I could relax.
You know, it's smooth sailing from here. It's like at any moment that storm, right back into it.
But I think one beautiful thing is that we're starting to see a lot of rappers like really flourish late into their careers, like decades into their careers. Yeah. So
it's dope. Rap has never been this old.
True.
It's the first time and we get to create it. Like it's like we are in the current. Like this is the culture that gets to dictate where it goes.
That is true.
And it's like, I don't know.
You still got a lot of years to do this shit, really.
Literally.
Which, if you love what you do.
Man, I went to a show last year, and it was, I forgot what the name of the festival was, but it was a bunch of artists from the 70s, essentially. Mm-hmm. So they on stage 70 years old.
Ooh.
And I'm like, damn, I hope we let rap get to that point where we can still put, and it was popping too.
Whoa.
Like it was.
How was the crowd?
Popping. How was the crowd? Older.
Yeah.
How was the crowd? They were older. It was a few young motherfuckers in there, but it was awesome. It was like going to any other festival. It was like going to any other festival. Amazing. Except you wanted to hear all of the songs that were playing from each stage.
Wow.
It was like Ron Isley, Al Green.
Oh, whoa.
Santana.
I would have loved to be there.
Yeah.
Man.
Diana Ross. Like it was like hella, like it was like everybody.
Legends.
It was all these legends. And I'm like just really observing like, okay, this is what it's like to get older in your field. And I'm also having those thoughts like, damn, I wonder if we as a culture will let rap do this.
I hope so.
It's not going anywhere. Like I think people, especially being younger, it's like I remember the game. You 38 and you still rapping.
That's what I'm saying. I don't even think it's on the artists. I think it's more on the audience, really.
Right, but it is on the artists also because we gotta train the audience a little bit. We gotta
because I've heard some rappers be like, I don't got anything to rap about now. I'm 45. I don't have anything to say.
I'm 45. It's not like you stopped existing. Like, what the fuck? Like, people, like, I think that's also based on culture of rap, though. Like, it seems like so, like, bro, you can write a rap about anything. And when you're 45, you still do shit.
You might get a different perspective, but you still do shit.
And there's 45-year-olds out here that want to hear your 45-year-old bars because they connect and relate to them.
Facts.
Like, yeah, maybe it's 13 and 14-year-olds that don't want to hear that shit.
That is true.
They also didn't want to hear it when you were 15 years ago. They did not want to hear that shit.
Hear that shit. That is true. Yep. I think it says more about not letting an audience kind of dictate what you should put out. I think that's what it all comes down to.
That's the whole point of being an artist. Is like you gotta have that freedom to just do whatever the fuck you want to do. At least when it comes to the art.
Yep.
And yeah. My fault, because you've been wrapping up for a second. We just went to a whole nother
No
thing,
worries,
but,
no worries. Well, that was cool. Thank you
Thank you
for making time.
Absolutely.
I really felt like I got the answers, and I got a lot of gems that I'm gonna personally apply. So I appreciate that.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to you going on tour. Really excited for that with Overcast. Yeah, very excited for that. I have a lot of friends that are in the UK that are like hoping for a lot of stuff from you. So fingers crossed for them. But
Fingers crossed.
thank you again.